Welcome to episode 3 of Heroic Nonsense, where I'll be showcasing the new Studio Series 86 Ultra Magnus. For those returning, welcome back, and for anyone new, I hope you'll enjoy and stick around for future episodes because I have a lot of great reviews planned. And make sure you guys all stay until the end, as I will have some fun team and action builds. And of course, throughout the video, there are some fun stop motions. So with that, let's get right into the review. So first we're going to start off with a quick look at the vibrant box art where we see Ultra Magnus fighting by the Autobot ship with art very reminiscent of the 86 movie, which is right up my alley since that is still one of my all-time favorite movies, which I now get to share with my boys. As usual, it also comes with a nifty insert display which reproduces the box art in all its glory and serves as a very nice backdrop for Magnus. Before we start the review of his robot mode, I'll note that he comes in the box without his antenna attached to his head, so make sure you grab those from the weapons and blast cache as they're relatively small and you wouldn't want to lose them. I positioned the left antenna here so that you can see how you would place it on his left side. If you want them to fit correctly, then you need to place the correct one on the appropriate side of his head, as you can see that the front triangular shaped portion of it is a bit larger than the back and should be placed facing forward. Once they're on, however, they fit in nice and snug and won't fall off easily. Now on to City Commander Ultra Magnus in all his glory. First impressions, the colors to me look perfect and I find the whole bot mode very clean, especially for a non-masterpiece figure. Everything is really solid and built well, and it actually feels like a masterpiece figure in both modes and when transforming it. You'll also see that there aren't any empty spaces in the arms or legs, so it has a nice overall premium feel to it. A good portion of the joints are ratcheted, so the bot is definitely not going anywhere if you try to pose it in any wild position you can imagine. Close-up of his legs, definitely chunky, which I feel is in line with his original G1 toy as well as his movie appearances, and has some really in-depth detail and markings. Even his tires are designed well and actually look like real rubber tires like back in the day. He comes with 2 blasters, though here I'm only showing his main one. His arms and shoulder missiles are also nicely detailed, with his shoulder missiles also fitting in tightly. Turning him around, you can also see that his back is fairly clean, which is very nice, as it could have had way more kibble. And his head has the light piping allowing his eyes to light up with a light source behind or above him. Of course, a high-end Ultra Magnus figure wouldn't be complete if he didn't have the matrix in his chest. To that end, the designers created a very nice replica of how his chest opens from the 86 movie with his matrix housed inside. One thing I really like about this is that the side panels that open up with spring action on their own when you lift up the centerpiece. Very cool add-on that the team didn't have to include, but is a nice playability factor. Another great feature that we have come to expect with Commander class figures are moving fingers, and to help showcase that, I've created this quick stop motion demo of that just for your enjoyment. As for size, I'm sure you have all heard he is definitely a big bot, probably bigger than most expected. However, even in the movie and show, an original toy as well, he was one of the bigger Transformers. Here he's next to Kingdom Rodimus Prime for an idea of scale. Unfortunately, I don't have a G1 Ultra Magnus to compare him to, but I do have the Siege version, and you can see here how much bigger he actually is. I also have him placed next to my Masterpiece Ultra Magnus, and again, he is definitely closer in a lot of ways to that type of figure than the recent Legacy toy line. If you've always wanted a Masterpiece version of him and can't get your hands on one, this is the next best thing, or even better, since you won't feel as bad actually transforming him. Hope you enjoyed that stop motion break as we head into the review of the truck mode. I actually contemplated getting the Earth Mode Kingdom Ultra Magnus because I really wanted one for our War for Cybertron and Legacy Scale toys. But 1, we already had the Cybertron version, which was very similar, and 2, we really didn't like the truck cab kibble and inability to use this trailer to put other Transformers on. Well, I'm happy to say that this 86 Studio Series version solves both of those problems and more. For 1, he looks awesome and totally captures the movie and original G1 aesthetic nicely, and the fact that he can have at least 3 or 4 Autobot cars on his back and has a working ramp makes this even better. Best of all, his cab looks like an actual cab of a real truck. Size-wise, he looks great with Kingdom Rodimus and also looks fairly nice next to Earthrise Optimus, which I'll show in a few seconds. Personally, I like my toys in a series to scale as best as they can with each other. Though I do recognize that it is generally impossible to have all the toys scale given the huge variety of vehicles that make up the toy line, I do appreciate when they do match up. Case in point, the cabs of Earthrise Optimus and Studio Series 86 Ultra Magnus do line up pretty nicely, though Optimus does feel a bit underwhelming next to Ultra Magnus in truck mode, solely due to his very small trailer. I'm hoping that we get a proper 86 Optimus with full-scale trailer to make up for this soon, which I've heard rumors about, I believe. For now, they look pretty good together. Alright, so transforming time. I'm going to do this in 3 or 4 parts because of the complexity of this figure, and so that's easier to jump around in. So let's start with undoing these 2 flaps on each side of his chest and then the 2 connectors on his shoulder, so we can move to lifting up his chest plate that houses the matrix by grabbing the bottom portion on each side with your index finger and thumb, and push the head back a bit. By the way, all these tabs come out fairly easily, including the chest plate, with only minimal force. Next, we'll turn Magnus around and lift up the back of his body, which essentially forms the cab of the truck. What I'd like to do next is simply pull up the front chest plate to pop everything straight up so that I can then lower this small red tab 180 degrees, which will ultimately press against his face in truck mode. It moves down fairly easily just like this, but you will need to fiddle a bit with the chest plate and head to get it into place. Now we'll simply tab the front chest plate 90 degrees to the 2 red stabilizers. You can actually feel the chest plate tab into them. It does require a bit of movement at the joints here, so play around with it a bit until it actually tabs in. Make sure those 2 rectangular red connectors are moved up 90 degrees as well, flush to the chest plate. Now let's turn the body around again and simply push the head into that rectangular tab that we pulled down earlier. Again, play around with the head a bit until it fits snugly into the tab. The head doesn't actually tab into anything, but it does feel that way because of the shape and fit of the head. So now that we have everything nice and straight, we'll start working on the cab portion by opening the side flaps and pulling up the grille and opening up the windows like so. You'll also want to open up the front wheels by pushing them from the back with your index fingers. This may require a bit of repositioning of the front grille, and window portion. Now the most satisfying part of the transformation, in my opinion, which is closing up all the tabs of the cab, which fit nicely into place with each other. Everything fits in smoothly, so you shouldn't have any problems here. Then you can finally lift up the stacks and pull out the back tires, which do require a bit of pressure, and the plastic is flimsy, so just be a bit careful. Now onto the last part, the trailer that carries the cars. Let's start with the arms. You can actually do these whenever you want before this point, but I prefer to wait until now. Here you simply need to open up the back panel of the lower arm guard, pull out and down, and click back into place to cover the hands. We'll do the same exact thing on the other side. Very easy. Now push this little red piece in and move to the legs. This part is also fairly easy. Just rotate the legs backwards until the back wheel section is parallel to the rest of the truck and cab. It's a tight ratchet, which is great. This next part is important to highlight because you really do need to make sure the legs are positioned correctly in order for everything to ultimately fit together. You can see how I push the leg up and in with a bit of force until I get to the joint sticking out a bit. You can see the difference between the leg I transformed and the one I didn't. Now do the exact same thing on the other side, just like this. Once done, both legs, push them together so that they tab into each other. And there you go for the back end. Now we'll flip this piece around, which really is just there to give a bit more space for the cars. We'll flip this white piece 180 degrees up and click these two panels right into place. And then take these two red panels and also flip them up 180 degrees until they lock into place. You can put down the truck now and focus on the arms. You'll need to first unfold the side panels twice, which forms 3 connected panels, and click the bottom panel into the tab behind it from before. Do the same thing on the other side. And while I do this, you can see how they hold up nicely in place, even without being tabbed into anything except that side panel. Now flip the arms forward 180 degrees. They should come out fairly smoothly. Turn the whole extended arm section backwards now 180 degrees. This also has a tight ratchet, so you'll need a bit of force for each of the arms. Use your nail to pull open this middle blue section to close up the hole and straighten everything out. You'll see these very small tabs here that you need to push back so that they keep these extended arms locked up nicely. There are 2 for each arm on either side of this section. Finally, to complete this whole upper section of the truck, pull this tab out and click into place. We'll do the exact same thing here. Ratchet the extended arm back like this. Again, it's a little tight. And then pull down the blue panel. Close up the front panel like this. And of course, click those small tabs into place. Sorry about the focus on this part right now. So there are 2 small tabs on either side of the back section. You need to rotate it down and push forward. This ultimately tabs the extended arms into place with the very back of the truck. Now do the same here on the other side. As you can see, the tab already moved into position from all the movement. Now click these 2 white tabs into the other side. And finally, we're going to open the side panels like so and click them into place. Do the same on the other side. At this point, you're really at the end of the transformation. We're just going to click this in. You can rearrange and fix everything up. I'm just going to put this smokestack back up. And now we're going to pull out the front cab from the trailer portion so the truck can turn. There you go. And then finally, just don't forget to click this blue tab in right underneath. And voila, Ultra Magnus is transformed. And now to my favorite part, some diorama type combinations with a few of our other figures in our collection. I always like getting a new figure and thinking of ways to put him in a display, whether as part of a traditional team makeup or something more creative based on the toys we have. In this case, given how iconic Ultra Magnus is, I have generally put him in displays with other G1 characters from the '86 movie and G1 cartoon, though you will see that I have come up with some other fun combinations. My favorite setup I think to date, however, is based off the scene from the movie where Galvatron and Cyclonus track down Ultra Magnus in the Matrix and destroy him as he tries to open it. I haven't shown him blown apart here, but you actually can take apart his arms and legs and recreate that scene from the movie, similar to Studio Series 86 Cup. Other cool setups could be the sweeps chasing him down, or Ultra Magnus rebuilt on Junkion next to Wreck-Gar and Junk Heap, which I will definitely do in my review of the upcoming Junkion Scrap Heap coming up soon. And for fun, here's an exotic build which includes the buzzworthy Bumblebee 84 cartoon-style Cybertronium modes of Bumblebee and Jazz, 86 Studio Series Blur, and Magnus. Yes, I do realize this would likely not be a correct build given timelines and modes, but still, come on. Doesn't this look cool with Blur and Ultra Magnus alongside them? And finally, another fun build, just because I think having semi-trucks battling each other out is awesome. Legacy Motormaster playing chicken with Ultra Magnus, and a bit of a battle between the Autobots and the Stunticons for good measure. So that brings us to the end of my third video in this series. I hope you guys enjoyed the 86 Studio Series Transformers the Movie Ultra Magnus review, builds, and other fun bits, and would love to hear about some of your ideas in the comment section below, whether about your own displays or ideas, or things you'd like to see on my channel, even just to say hi. I would love to grow the channel and keep doing this, so if you're able to, please like, share, and subscribe. And with that, I will see you next time. And don't forget, it's all such heroic nonsense in the end. Bravo!